Welcome to the Illuminate Whiteboard Series. My name is Mark Adato. I am an implementation manager on the DNA team, and today we're talking about data-driven instruction. So let's talk about the components that go into the data-driven instruction cycle. There are three main pieces. You have assessment, you have analysis, and you have action. And so this is a cycle that you see happening in the classroom at the school level all the time. So as a teacher, I might give some sort of a baseline, maybe some sort of a diagnostic quiz, something to find out where are my students at and what do they understand right now. Based on that, I'm going to do some analysis. I'm going to try to figure out what is it that they don't understand, where are the gaps in their understanding, and lastly, what am I going to do about it? Now that I know what they don't understand, what they're having challenges with, what reteaching action steps am I going to take in order to help them overcome those gaps? And so this is all part of a cycle that we see happening all the time in the classrooms. Now, encompassing this entire framework is the culture. So it's not just the culture of the classroom, like how do students and teachers talk about data, but it's a culture of the school itself. How do teachers talk about data with each other as well? For example, a classroom with a healthy culture around data would have students asking questions like, how did I do on this assessment? They would be able to analyze their own data, looking at their own graphs and their own reports, and they'd say, hey, this is what I think I need to do about it. Mr. or Mrs. Teacher, can you help me out and give me some resources? A school with a healthy culture around the DDI cycle would have teachers in a PLC or in a data team or whatever you might call it, getting together and saying, hey, based on this assessment that we all gave our kids, this common assessment, here's what my kids had trouble with. I see that your kids did really well. What is it that you did that I can now do? What materials did you use? What strategies did you use that I can now borrow for my classroom? And so that culture really encompasses the entire framework and really puts it together. Now, a lot of people think the data-driven instruction process only happens with big, scary benchmarks or tests that happen like once every 1 or 2 months. In reality, this is a process that happens with both formal and informal data. For example, if I'm a teacher and I just gave a homework assignment to my kids last night and I'm walking around and I'm hearing some confusion, I'm noticing that they didn't quite get one of the concepts. That's my analysis piece of that informal data. And I realize, I need to do something about it. So maybe I'm going to have a quick reteaching session. Maybe I'll give an anecdote or an example or have my kids try the problem in a different way. And now what I'm going to do is I'm going to call on my students one more time at random and say, can you please explain to me again what you didn't understand beforehand? That would be an example of using the entire data-driven instruction cycle in maybe 15 minutes based on some homework that I gave the night before. It doesn't need to be a big, scary process. In fact, it's just me as a teacher paying attention to what my kids are doing and then doing something about it. If I'm a school or a district leader and I want to make sure that all of my teachers and school leaders are using data-driven instruction within the classroom, within the school, I need to know that leaders at all levels are going to have to be involved. This is not a process that I can hand off to someone and say, here, go ahead and use this. I heard this works in classrooms. This is something that I need to be bought into, and I need to make sure my teachers are bought into, and I can do that best by modeling for them how the data-driven instruction cycle looks in a classroom and at a school and district level. So please join us again for another Illuminate Whiteboard Series. Again, my name is Mark Adato, and we've been talking about data-driven instruction with Illuminate Education.